every week. Mr. Leo Laporte, next member of the Broadcast Minds panel, is the EVP of Technology and Operations at the NBA. He's the man behind the first ever live sporting event done in 3D, Mr. Steve Hellmuth. Our next member of the Broadcast Minds panel is the Senior Associate AD at St. John's University. He oversees 17 sports, and he's leading the College Sports Initiative to get rid of the printed media guides and transition to streaming video so that they can really reach the fans and the students and recruits. Fratto from St. John's. Our final member of the Broadcast Minds team, a best-selling author, a radio and television personality, and the host of the #1 most downloaded podcast in the world, Mr. Adam Carolla.
As editor of StreamMedia.com, we see a lot of different products. Obviously, we've got, we try to maintain some degree of editorial impartiality, but when there's something that's really freaking cool, it's really freaking cool. And the Newtek TriCaster is pretty freaking cool, right? I mean, it's really part of, and this may sound like a bit of a cliche, but because it's been talked about so much, the democratization of video. You've got people, broadcasters, old media, who are using tools like the TriCaster to reach audiences more directly and more cost-effectively. You've also got new media, people who are doing podcasts, things like Twitch TV, who are doing things with the TriCaster that they just wouldn't be able to do otherwise. They can't afford to pull up a $10 million broadcast truck. Newtek TriCaster specialty is live video online. And if you needed any more proof that live online video has really become mainstream, just look at last week when YouTube announced that they were starting a YouTube live channel. And so, even though, and I think we'll probably talk about this a bit, even though on-demand video viewing numbers are still greater than live viewing numbers, that's changing. And it's because of the technologies like the TriCaster, and there are others out there that are allowing people to reach out directly to their fans online. And what I'd like to do is start by asking each one of our panelists a bit about why they chose to go that route, using the TriCaster to reach their audience directly without an old broadcast, old school media intermediary, and talk about the pros and cons.
When I first started thinking about doing video, I mean, frankly, originally we were just an audio podcast, and our audience seemed to want more. It started with me and a little webcam pointed in the studio, but as we started to build it out, I kind of got a hankering, having many years as a TV broadcaster, to have a little bit more, to have more angles, more shots. My price range, which was pretty little, there was very little I could find that would do what I wanted to do. We looked at hardware switchers, and then when it finally came down to, there was nothing anywhere close to what the TriCaster, originally had a TriCaster studio, and later a broadcast, could do at that price.
We needed the TriCaster. Was the only device that would really give us everything we needed. Number one, we needed live, right? So we put it right on the table, right next to the radio announcers. We do a live streaming event. We have an archive quality HD feed.
There's many universities and colleges that have major football programs and video departments that go along with it. For us at St. John's, a lot of people know St. John's for New York City's basketball team. Luke Carnesecca, top 7 in NCAA history and all-time basketball victories. Chris Mullen, Mark Jackson, people like that. But we're, there's 17 sports at St. John's, and there's only so many opportunities to get exposure for them. We're able to use a student staff and use our staff of graduate assistants, not a full-time professional video staff, to be able to cut video, to be able to produce more than 100 live sporting events from campus every year. So.
Adam, when you started doing your podcast, were you also just capturing from a simple webcam, and what made you move up to do something a little more professional?
We started off as just doing an audio podcast. Well, I mean, I think the dream, the goal is to say to the big radio stations, terrestrial or not, or the big television networks, hey man, we're going to do our own thing. Or just power to the people. Give the ability back to the people. If you can do something, then you can run your own network. So for us, it was just a logical move when I got let go of my radio job. we started doing a podcast, and then we started thinking, well, wait a minute, there's got to be more to running your own studio than just the radio side of it. So we thought, well, there's a visual side of it, and that's when the TriCaster came in, and now it's not censored by the FCC, and more importantly by the man or the boss or the program director. I mean, it basically puts the wheel in your hands.
When the dust settles, you can say, this is mine, good or bad, I did it.